I'm Bryce Papenbrook. I'm a voice actor. I guess a good thing to start with is how I got here. I started when I was about 8 years old. My dad was also a voice actor. His name was Bob Papenbrook. He was working on the show called Power Rangers. So I went with him to work one day, and at the end of his session, they needed a kid's voice, and my dad's like, "He's a kid, throw him in the booth!" And I became a voice actor. Yeah, I guess to talk about martial arts, that was my first passion. My mom started me in karate when I was 5. Because I was, yeah, it's a Tong Soo Do, which is the same style that Chuck Norris practiced. And when I was about 10, I started practicing Muay Thai and competing in Muay Thai. So for you guys that don't know what that is, it's full contact kickboxing. So I competed for a number of years. I actually thought that was what I was going to do for a living. I did a number of casino fights and was about to turn pro, and then thought, is this really the life I want? Is this what I want to do, fight for a living? So, of course, the next logical thing is, now I want to be an attorney. So I went to UCLA. I studied political science and philosophy. I was about to take the LSAT, and I booked a voice acting job, and then booked another one, and booked another one. I'm like, you know what, the law library can wait. The next logical thing is become a voice actor or continue to pursue voice acting, and I haven't looked back. I tell people in panels all the time, people are like, how do I become a voice actor? What can I expect? And if you book 1 out of 100 auditions, you're doing extremely well. So I think that's sort of what I've brought to the world of voice acting, is the tenacity I've learned in martial arts.
For sure.
Do your martial arts skills ever intimidate voice directors?
You know, it's actually something that's really useful, because when you get in there, you only have one tool, and that's your voice. And the thing is, I play a lot of characters that, one, scream really loud. I used to yell at kids all the time when teaching martial arts, so that's become useful. But also, I know what it feels like to be kicked in the face and punched in the stomach and, you know, to be choked out. So I can make realistic noises. I bring some authenticity to the roles. And I think that comes through when you hear some of the stuff. You go, oh, it sounds like that guy's experienced this before.
Prior acting experience, or was it just mostly like just martial arts?
No, I actually wasn't formally trained as an actor. So I mentioned I studied political science and philosophy. It's a beautiful decoration up on my wall from UCLA. But no, I was never formally trained as an actor. I learned from watching my dad. I learned from being inside the booth, just kind of getting thrown in there. I also learned from prank calling my female friends as their other friends in class, as other girls, and getting away with it. I was that guy in middle school.
Oh, yeah.
I also talk to my dogs and yell at people in traffic. It's really good acting training. Another guest here, Vic Mignogna, I was at a con with him, and he was describing his experience. I can't take credit for this, even though I love it and I say it all the time. Going to a convention is like a voice actor's applause, because when we work, we're by ourselves. Things are very professional. You know, if you do something funny or something that really pulls emotions out, the director might just say, "Yeah, that was great. Moving on." But you don't get any sort of laugh or any sort of applause like you would if you're on stage. But coming to these conventions and hearing the stories from people like, you know, this show helped me through a really tough time in my life, or I was injured in this accident and I was in the hospital, and the only thing I would do is watch your show, and it pulled me through that. Like, it's incredible. It's really incredible and really inspiring. If you guys can't tell by my past, I really love challenges. I love things that are difficult, and I mean, voice acting for sure is one of the most difficult things anyone can do because of the level of competition. I'm sure you guys interview a ton of great actors, and there's so many people out there that can do these roles really well. So it's really tough to book roles as a voice actor, and it's really challenging to succeed in this industry. So it's fun for me to take that challenge, and creating a new company and developing tech especially is also something so challenging. So it's been exciting to take that on and to see it grow into something so cool.
So I know that you voiced Chat Noir and Miraculous Ladybug,
I
and you
do.
do a lot of Japanese dubbing as well. Is there like any like differences between dubbing the two?
Yeah, so Miraculous Ladybug is a French show, and I think that French is closer to English than Japanese is to English. So it affects the mouth flaps. So it makes it a little easier to hit that sync closer. But because it is closer to English, you have to really be dead on or it looks kind of off. So I'm really happy that the writers and the staff are so into the show and are so passionate about the show that they make it look perfect. Also, something really interesting about working on Miraculous, they use this thing called a rhythmoband. They have this thing where all the lines are on the screen and there's this red line. And as your line goes this way and the red line comes up to it, you say your line. It's like dubbing karaoke.
Ooh, fun.
So yeah, it's different and challenging and fun.
It's different from Japanese. Is there like any role, like whether it comes to like language or just like character in general, that you don't like to play or you don't enjoy as much?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of paying my rent. I mentioned how difficult it is to get cast in these things, so I'm really appreciative for all the work that comes through, and I haven't come across a type of work that I don't like. And I really cast my net as wide as possible. So I record for radio commercials, TV commercials, I do anime and video games and original animation where you record as a group. I also do this thing called Walla, which is recreating background noise in different shows. So, for example, I worked on a movie called Warm Bodies. There's a ton of zombies, and here's what I did for about 8 hours, multiple days. In a circle with a bunch of other actors.
Wow.
And then when you're done, it sounds amazing. Also, I worked on the new movie It. If we do our job well, you'll have no idea we even did this stuff. I'm actually part of Pennywise's voice. So what they did was they did not want Pennywise to sound human at all. So to make him sound even more like a creature, they brought in all these different kinds of voice actors. So I would do things that were very high-pitched, and then they brought in people like Fred Tatasciore, who plays the Hulk, to do these deep monster voices and monster like growls and sounds. And we were at the microphone at the same time. So I was doing like those kind of sounds, and he was doing these like deep, insane noises, and then they blended all together and Pennywise!
Wow.
So it all adds to the performance of the original actor. And it really, truly does sound terrifying when they blend it all together.
Right. So before your performances, do you usually have like a routine or like a vocal exercise that you do before you like get ready to go in the booth?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you know this, but there's no real way to prepare. There's no table read. Like, the first time I'm seeing the script and saying the lines of my characters is right when I'm in the booth. So there's no real way to prepare. I mean, a typical thing that I do is I wake up, I get dressed, jump in my car to drive to the studio and yell at people in traffic. It's a good vocal warm-up, just screaming at other cars, because traffic in LA is really bad.
Do you have a favorite like anime or like a TV show that you don't have a role in?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with the martial arts. You know, I was one of those kids, I'd watch DBZ and then go to karate and just try to go Super Saiyan, just in the back. Mini-me. So DBZ, yeah, big fan, and it's awesome that I get to work with a lot of the guys from that show.
So like you mentioned like Dragon Ball Z as like something you like really loved and looked up to as a kid. Do you have like any people who are like your inspiration or like your role model that you look up to as a voice actor?
Yeah, my real inspiration to push forward with everything was my dad. I mentioned my dad was a voice actor. He passed away about 12 years now. So it's really amazing that I have the opportunity to carry on the torch and kind of dedicate my entire career to him. So he's really my inspiration and the driving force behind me doing this.
That's sweet.
Yeah. you.